This week on the Art of SBA Lending.
Speaking of blacking out, remember that trip to Miami?
Vaguely. No, I remember it very well.
So we were in the back of a police car together.
That is a guy. I totally forgot about that. And now,
that's a pretty good part of the story.
That is a great part of the story. 'Cause that's how you learn. Not from a book.
You can kind of tell when someone is going to get it, and then you can also kind of tell when someone doesn't. And usually we both know.
I once had a boss that told me, if you bring me a problem, you better bring me a solution. Well, the problem is that taking titled vehicles as collateral can be very cumbersome. And the solution is CorpSmart. When you have a loan involving titled vehicles, CorpSmart is there to handle everything, from transferring the registration to taking title to making sure that the sales tax is paid. I've got to be honest, I didn't even realize sales tax was a thing until just a few years ago when my borrower called me from the closing table because he got hit with a $50,000 bill at closing that I didn't account for in my structure. And so in the spirit of solutions, CorpSmart has an offer just for Art of SBA listeners. Now you can quickly and easily request a DMB quote directly from the CorpSmart website so that you can accurately account for all of your closing costs and properly structure your loans up front. Just go to corp-smart.com/Art of SBA. We'll leave a link down below.
So this is going to be the last episode of the podcast. So thank you guys all for doing this with me. I mean, this is like a dream come true. This is where it all began.
That's an honor.
Thanks for inviting us.
You know, I've been, you guys let me go from the nest, like 12 years ago. And I've gone on to do different things. And I've, been very blessed in my career. And none of this would be possible if you guys didn't take the time to teach me the ropes. We all worked together in a building right over there. And I would come over to your office. You were my go-to. And literally the first business tax return I ever read, you're like sitting there telling me like what EBITDA is.
We did it, right? We did it together. We learned together.
So I just want to sit here and kind of look back on those days. This was like the 2011, 2013 era. We were at Mercantile Capital doing 504 interims, which is that a crazy business? That's it.
Yep.
Who even invented that business? That's like
I think we did.
I think we did.
I don't think anybody was
looking back. It's pretty amazing to know that you could build a company around that premise.
Yeah.
So,
wasn't it like initially like there was a robust secondary market for 504s, and then like 08 happened, and then it kind of pivoted to like interim.
Yeah, I mean the business model was really centered on co-originating 504s and then selling them to the larger secondary market players like the Zions or the Bank of the West. And like you said, 08 happened, the world changed, and we had to make some decisions and figure out how to, keep the lights on. Fortunately, we had a lot of smart people around us, and we came up with some ideas and got out on the road and on planes and started really focusing on that niche of interim lending in the 504 space.
Yeah, this guy, podcast natural over here.
Yeah.
The star is born. You're gonna have your own podcast by the time we get done with this.
Probably.
Man, I remember exactly where I was when I was hired, and I think you were on the phone. I definitely remember Chris was on the phone and Dan Eschbaugh was on the phone, and it was like June of like 11. So I just graduated college and I was visiting my grandma in New York. I was literally taking a step onto the bus to go into the city. And I got a call from you guys, and it had been a month we had parted ways. And they told me straight up with the marketing internship, they're like, this is not going to go anywhere for, full time. Like, so don't make sure that's not your expectation. So I was already on to looking at other things, but I loved working. I was there for like 4 months and it was a cool vibe. We were all in the office, and it seemed cool. And I was like, hell yeah, I'll come back and I'll basically call all these CRE brokers on behalf of, you. And then I was also responding to all the inbound marketing leads. And then I was there for 2 years and you guys taught me everything. So thanks. I brought you all here to say thank you.
Oh, that's so
very
nice.
nice.
Very sweet.
I could have just called you, but no, I wanted to do it here on my podcast and use you for clicks. So, so I didn't know at the time, but like this is 2011, and of course I missed this whole '08 thing. I was like, studying for chemistry at the time. That was a rough market, it turns out. And I literally, when I was trained, I was like, so every tax return had negative profit, and I thought that was normal. I was like, man, I was looking at the tax returns from 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I was like, why like none of these cash flowed? And then as the market turned, like things got a little bit different. But at the time I was like, man, this job is really depressing. You got to dig through a lot of crap.
Mm-hmm.
But that company, I realize now, had been around long before I got there. And you even started as an intern, right? Is that true?
That's true. I was an intern for 2 semesters, and I think I got the same call.
That. Yeah. Wow, that's a fun fact.
I think I got the same call. I graduated finally, and then said, "Come on full time." Been doing it ever since. That was 20 years ago.
UCF?
Yeah. UCF. Go nice.
Hey,
Charge
there you go. And what was your role there? Because you were kind of like, you were doing deals, but you became like our president, I think, at some point. I don't even remember.
Yeah, well, it was 2008, and we were looking to start a bank. Mercantile had been profitable, and Jeff and I had worked together at a couple of banks, and we thought, hey, what better way to start a bank with an entity that's already profitable? We get a jump start. Most banks start out, in the hole. And so we worked very hard to get our charter. We got it approved. And then the fall of 2008 happened, and the FDIC said, we don't need any more banks right now, so you can just sit on the sidelines and be happy doing SBA.
I did not know that.
Yep.
So they brought you here to kind of help with that whole thing?
Mm-hmm.
It was a great bank name, and I still hope somebody still owns it.
Yeah.
And one day we'll see that bank name come out. I don't want to spoil it.
Oh,
but
no.
it was such a great name. It had a great logo. Everything was teed up.
That was a tough time, because I mean the amount of effort that went into creating the bank, getting the OCC approval, lining up investors to capitalize the bank, and then all of a sudden the world kind of came to an end. Not only is it disappointing, but then it's like we said a few minutes ago, we had to pivot and figure out, okay, we've staffed up for this. We've gotten resources
Rented
that
a
we
building.
we can't implement or put to use like we thought we were. And it was pretty stressful.
I had no idea. When did you come into the company?
I came in, I started in 2009.
Oh.
So, and I started just part-time at the time.
That was before or after it was sold to old whatever bank?
It was before.
Okay,
so it was before, yeah. And
And then we were all in Altamont Springs, right? In that office. That's where I started. And then we ended up moving down here after the merger into that building. So I came in the marketing department. They had a robust marketing department over there.
Mm-hmm.
Trey. Nikos. I haven't heard that name in forever. He's still around, right?
Yeah.
I see him.
Florida bank.
One Florida.
I see, yeah. And when a lot of the guys are over there, right? Was that through mergers it was there, or was there just movement?
Well, because
it was Old Florida National Bank was the bank.
So that was who bought Mercantile.
Right.
And then Iberia Bank bought out Old Florida Bank, and then they formed
a new bank.
One Florida Bank is a different entity,
Brand
but a
new.
lot of people, all the same people, basically
got
the same players, or a lot of them.
Yeah, it was crazy. And so what I remember from back then was, first of all, we were in the annex part of the office.
Right.
I used to stuff envelopes, shiny ones,
Mm-hmm.
You're really good at it.
shiny gold ones.
But there was fun stuff too. We had like pill bottles that you can mail in bank bags, and
don't forget the brains.
Yeah.
All the
We
brains.
could squeeze the brains.
Mhm.
We had a lot
of creative
of
stuff.
good marketing stuff. Yeah.
It was, and you guys were ahead of your time for sure. I mean, banks are notoriously bad at the marketing aspect of it, but it was obviously a lot of thought had gone into a lot of those things. And then this was during a time where it was like we had a receptionist, which was Ken. Not everyone has a receptionist anymore. or it's like AI or whatever. So this is was this like the end of like the good old days? Was that like the last chapter kind of
I hope not.
because
Yeah,
we were
I
the packages were coming in the mail still. We had a receptionist, and now everyone works from home, and everyone just calls each other cell phones. And things are different.
You're selling kind of a little short because his official title was
It was the
mayor.
mayor.
Yeah,
the mayor.
Not everybody has a receptionist.
right,
Like Ken.
and we had a
yes.
mayor, so
He was
I think we had a great like office vibe, and we had a great culture, and we
Mhm.
carried that for a very long time. Like
Yeah, we
from the
did.
time that I started, Tony was already there, but we all like learned together. We lent together. We hung out after work together. We did like little day trips and little hangs together, watching World Cup soccer. We had like
That's
a
right.
kind of a good vibe, which I don't think you really get these days with the work from
Mhm.
home. Quite
Exactly.
so much.
it is very unusual, and it's very unusual too to have the core group of people stay together for an extended period of time, especially in this industry, right? I mean, you see a lot of people jumping from one place to the next, and I think that's really what made it special, because we were all, again, we had to reinvent ourselves several times, and so we were all learning together and figuring out how to navigate kind of an uncertain environment multiple times over. And I think that's what created the connection and
There was also like a healthy amount of like competition between the different lenders or the different departments. Like you wanted to excel. You were buddies during the day and buddies at night, but you still wanted to do just a little bit more than the guy that you could see, and you can kind of listen into what maybe your competition's doing, try to like improve your game, and kind of be like, I want to get some of the better leads. You could see it. It was like a daily thing of like, I want to be as good as that person.
John should know. He had very detailed spreadsheets down to the penny of each lender's
You had to track
origination
it.
and what we
You
were
get
doing.
a little jealousy of,
Yeah.
ooh, that's why didn't I get that lead?
Interesting.
There's still that exists today, but it's just a name and a number on a spreadsheet.
Well, I remember you guys at this office over here. You guys were all in the back row, kind of like all four of your offices were.
Mhm.
You were in the corner. You were in the corner. You were on the left side. You were on the right side. Or was that the Altamont office? That's how I remember it being set up. Right? Do you remember that?
It's all a little
Okay,
foggy.
well,
to be
lost
it
honest.
You were in the corner. You were in the other corner, and you guys were in the middle. Anyway,
Yeah, it was downtown.
Your
It
door
was
was
downtown?
It was downtown.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
right.
what-
Yeah, there was Tony, Sean.
Yeah.
this
This
is what,
Dwayne's old office.
this is what I remember about, because I used to go. This is going to be nostalgic. So first of all, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I'm getting packages in the mail. I need your help. I need someone's help on just about every deal. So I would do this thing where I'd walk down that hallway and see who's there, and I would kind of look in, and Tony's door shut. You're on the phone, and then you're like, all right, come on in. So then I have someone and it was just like, you can't do that anymore. It's because everything's so virtual now. But that was what it was like, and that was such a privilege. I mean, I got in I will not be here if we didn't have that in person. Like, how do you? I mean, yes, you can learn virtually. It's possible, but it's not the same.
That's not the same.
Mhm.
And another thing I think that made it special there was, Jeff always believed in bringing younger people in and kind of
Mhm.
surrounding yourself with young people. So you always have fresh ideas and new ways to do things. And I always thought that was.
Yeah. So, what are some of the fresh ideas I brought in, Carolyn?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say you, Ray,
Yeah.
but just
Was I really that into working out at the time?
Eating healthy.
I just remember your chicken breast, like at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
I
was on
fresh broccoli.
because it was like 8 a.m., 11, because I was on
It
that
just
every 3
always
hour
made me
thing.
feel so bad about myself. Like, I am the most unhealthy person compared to this
I do
guy.
remember bringing my lunch a lot, and I feel like I started a newsletter at some point that was like that I sent only internally to like the 20 of you guys or something.
I think I remember that.
Yeah.
You had like fitness tips.
Yes.
And like,
It's so funny.
Here's what
I think I permanently
I-
blocked that from my
I'm not sure if you still do this. I kind of copied off you a bit, because you were on your earpiece, and you were always kind of roaming through the conference room and kind of roaming the cubicle area while you were talking. While you were
Pacing.
pacing. Way before stand-up desks were a thing, right? So I've kind of kind of copied that a little bit. Now I do try to do a lot of my talking while I'm standing and moving.
I didn't do that for exercise purposes. That's just what I do.
And do you still do it now?
Oh, 100%. I get on the phone and by the end of the call, I'm somewhere completely different. I'm like, how did I get here?
Yeah.
I blacked out. Speaking of blacking out, remember that trip to Miami?
Vaguely. No, I remember it very well. It was
okay. We got it. Hold on. I got to remember everything I want to talk about. But all right. So part of my job was going to conferences, which is part of why I fell in love with the job, because it was like, oh, free food and drinks. Like, and I'm like, you know, I'm making like 30 grand a year. So it was like, that's a big perk. So, and I was just coming out of college. So we went to the Lee and Associates conference and we were at the lobby bar. And I remember you were saying like you were sitting with your new iPhone. It was like an iPhone 4 had just come out. You had your iPhone there and you lost it. And then the next morning we're like, we got to find the iPhone. And so I said, well, there's this cool new feature that's like called Find My iPhone.
No idea that existed at the time.
So you found your login credentials somehow, and somehow it was turned on, and we saw that the phone was somewhere.
Yeah.
Do you want to take over?
If you've been a fan of the show for a while, then you know one of my favorite companies to work with is Rapid Business Plans. Last year alone, their business plans helped facilitate over $600 million in government guaranteed lending. They're on track to beat that this year. More and more small business lenders and their borrowers are relying on Rapid to help with the business plan, projections, and assumptions because their team goes the extra mile to ensure everything is done fast and done right. And that helps streamline the process. They're great at export business plans, by the way, which are critically important at protecting that 90% guarantee. Rapid also offers feasibility studies, which tells you if the project is, well, feasible. I would recommend these for any large startup loan because it protects you and it protects the borrower and helps you get more good deals done. Go to rapidbusinessplans.com to set up your Get Acquainted call today. Find out why so many top producing BDOs recommend Rapid to their small business borrowers. We're going to leave a link in the show notes just for our Art of SBA listeners. Now let's get back to the show.
I was kind of thinking about this a few days ago, and I honestly can't even believe what we ended up doing next in this world we live in now. We had the smart idea to go track this phone down, even though it was a random apartment complex on South Beach. It could have been anybody.
Right.
We took a cab, I think, or we walked down the street. We politely knocked on the door at this apartment. A gentleman answered and said, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have this phone. And I just couldn't accept that. I knew he had the phone.
Well, we could see
it was in his apartment.
I was like, I knew where it was in his apartment. Like you could tell it was like right here on probably like the table right here.
And Ray's sitting there right next to me, like ready to throw down if he needs to. I don't know who this guy is. I mean, he could have been a maniac.
He looked hungover. It looked like he woke up.
Like
we were knocking for like 10 minutes before he even woke up. And it was a 3-story building in South Beach. The first floor was being built out.
Yeah, a lot of construction going on.
The construction workers were saying the guy who owns this building lives on the second floor. Mm-hmm. That's when we went upstairs and knocked on his door. Yeah, and maybe banging on his door. And then he comes out, and then we're like, he's like, maybe it's in the bushes. And he started looking around the bushes with us. Like we're all, and we're just like, this is pointless. Like we know it's inside, and we're pretending to look in the bushes for your phone.
So just defeated and hungover, we go back to the hotel, and miraculously that night, the phone shows back up at the hotel and at the manager's desk, and I got my new iPhone back. So, and I got to tell you, I mean, look, I wouldn't have expected you to have my back, but I was very impressed, and I was glad you were there with me to go potentially, crack some heads if we needed to for this iPhone, because I really loved that phone at the time.
Yeah, it's exactly. I mean, I was ready to suit up. I was a soldier for the mission, fighting for the cause. But you skipped a couple parts. One is when we were, maybe you did this on purpose, but
yeah, probably.
when we first of all, you bought an iPhone in between that
That's
happening,
true.
and when you did that, I was like, "Is this guy rich? Like, I want to be this guy."
It was probably
Two
on the company
iPhones.
credit card.
But yeah, we'll cut this out if you tell me to. But at one point, before we got to the apartment, when we were trying to find the apartment, we showed 2 police officers that were on the street, like
I
the phone.
remember
We said,
that.
"Hey, this is what happened. We know this phone's here. Can you help take us here?" And we got into the back of the cop car and they drove us around trying to look for where this was. But then we're like, we didn't know how to read this map, and they're just like, "All right, get out." And then we left. But that was like a little bit of a.
Police car too. Wow.
So we were in the back of a police car together.
That is a guy. I totally forgot about that. And now, I mean,
That's a pretty good part of the
that was
story.
a great part of the story. Man, I forgot. And they did not care. They had no.
They were cool.
I mean, they were cool. They drove us around for a little bit, but they were not going to help us.
No, I mean, they were going above and beyond at that point. But
no, I appreciate the assistance.
yes.
Did you
ended
take
up
back
well.
I
did.
The newly bought iPhone?
I did.
And then several years later, you helped me find my iPhone, and I think I heard a little bit about that story. Remember at Flagel?
Yes, I do.
Man,
Yeah,
Ray.
I
You
was
need to
like,
get
this
it.
brings me back.
Yeah.
But it was in a JW Marriott though. It was a little different. I felt a lot
a
safer.
little safer.
Oh wow! And the other thing I remember about you, Tony, is you used to type on your keyboard like it did something mean to you, and you were trying to give it payback.
He was an aggressive
This guy was an aggressive loud typer.
I think. I mean, I've mellowed quite a bit in my older age, but back then, I mean, it was. I needed to get stuff done, and I mean, I wanted to get deals done. It was so interesting to Sean's point. It was a friendly but competitive environment. Whether people knew that or not, you could kind of feel it. Sean and I have been competitive for a long time. I mean, we go back to high school together, but you know, I didn't want to see him I wanted him to be successful. Obviously, I wanted the company to be successful, but I wanted to make sure that I was more successful. So typing hard and fast to make sure I got every little thing done. That's probably what drove that.
That is funny. Well, you got the better leads, obviously. That's the reason. So, and you, Sean, I mean, how many people have you taught SBA to?
Probably a few over the years. I think in the Mercantile days, I was kind of head up the finance intern group. So I'd spend a decent amount of time with the different interns that would come through semester after semester, and some would stay on in SBA world or lending in some fashion. Some would move on. But I always thought it was great when we could get somebody for 2 semesters. The first semester, you're putting a lot in,
right?
But you're not getting much back. And it was always a part-time job. Then the semester 2 is when you could actually, rely on one of these interns to, maybe you weren't even an intern anymore. You were like official part-time worker, and you could trust them. You could trust their numbers. You could trust their spreads, and they could definitely contribute back. I don't know. I haven't read.
I think that was one of the, looking back, keys to the success. Tony had this amazing creativity that he could figure out there was a way to do the deal. He would figure out how to do it, very creative in structuring. And I think that brought something to the table that we all picked up on and learned from him. And then Sean is one of the best mentors and people to teach SBA, as you said, that I've ever seen. And I think a lot of people could be having a podcast giving kudos to Sean for that as well.
I agree. And that's probably why he was so upset when you decided to leave. Because that happened a number of times at Mercantile to Sean, and
it always hurts. But the birds need to leave the nest, and go out and flourish, and it comes with the territory. So what's great is they don't. If you're new and you're fresh, you don't know any better, so you can't really challenge when you don't know anyone. That's when I'm the best at teaching. If you have a seasoned vet and I'm teaching them, I would probably say the wrong things frequently, but no one knows any better. So you just make it up and go along.
You've got to have a lot of patience to teach someone such a complex, business from scratch. And you've done it a lot.
You can kind of tell when someone is going to get it. And then you can also kind of tell when someone doesn't. And usually we both know. Is this going to be a long-term, decision for a career move? So you don't throw good time after bad. Usually everybody picks it up at the same pace, and then some people stick with it, and some people use it as a platform to go on to the next thing.
Go into podcasting.
Well, I think I think that's an incredible, legacy that you'll leave behind with all of this, and you continue to do it with the training of people, and it just does it does, huge help to the industry that needs that type of talent. And you look and, people that started with you, like, that you taught, I mean, look where they're at now. Look at different people. Remember, was it Igor? Remember that guy?
Yeah, I do remember
Igor.
Igor.
He was like an intern, I think, and now he's like somewhere, I'm here, and there's countless other people that are having great careers because you took the time to teach them from scratch, and that's all of you guys.
I think it was more them than me, but I think
And he's
it
humble.
helps
Well,
to be
he's
a
kind
little
of carried on the legacy though, in a
little
way,
piece.
because
And
obviously
now
through
here
your
you are.
podcast and
Teaching.
education. I mean, look
Absolutely.
at how many small business owners you've educated, and then I'm sure there's a lot of lenders listening in to
Sure.
get nuggets from you.
That is a very good point. I frequently use your podcast to, say, hey, it's not just me who's saying this.
Well, it kind of is. It's
Successful
incestual.
SBA lenders are saying the same thing to how to
Oh, like-
how to win deals and how to influence people and how to double and triple check things and different techniques and strategies. It's what I frequently send clips like the 20-minute mark. Listen here for
No, I
two
appreciate
minutes.
I love hearing that feedback. It's crazy. And then I would go into Shannon's office, and I just try to keep up with him. This guy, you understand these complexities of these deals, and I was just trying to absorb as much stuff as I can. But you were just like, obviously had a lot more experience than just about anyone, I feel like, at the time, and I was just trying to soak it all up.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have the SBA experience. I definitely deferred to Tony and Sean, but just general lending, underwriting, and we were doing a lot of construction. I had a lot of
Right. It
background
was
in
a lot of construction. I was trying.
I think it was a very unique collection of people who brought a lot of different experiences and talents, a lot of passions that came into it.
Absolutely.
Jeff was a great mentor, for me personally, but for lots of the team members. And so I think it really was a nice group that really came together, and there was definitely a bond.
I agree. I mean, and again, this SBA stuff was so niche, but I mean, Carolyn had a conventional banking background. Shannon had a conventional banking background. Their understanding of credit really amplified our understanding of credit, because I think Sean and I got pretty good at structuring deals and looking at it. We understood the basics of credit, but we really didn't have the eye for the different aspects of the credit that we probably needed to, as the company grew and we were doing larger, more complex deals. And I will say, one of the biggest things to augment the stuff that Sean was talking about with teaching some of the folks that were younger in the organization is there are very few organizations that give you access to everything that goes on in the business. What I think I benefited the most from was that from day one, Jeff and Chris opened up the committee doors. They opened up the conversations they were having with our warehouse lenders. They were opening up conversations with customers. Like, you got to see the spectrum of the process from start to finish. And as a young kid who doesn't know anything, it's very, very rare that you get to sit in on that type of stuff on a regular and consistent basis, because that's how you learn, not from a book.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. And I mean, look, you guys are contributing so much to the industry now where you're at New Tech and stuff. And it's just grown and grown. And we had you mentioned the culture. I mean, we did a lot of fun stuff back then. I mean, there were some goofy videos you guys made that I watched. There was The Office.
Yeah.
There was some other stuff. I saw Chris sent me a picture. It looks like we were at a German restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
And-
we do that every
drinking out
year.
the boot.
And you guys are the boot. You remember
Boot.
that's what
drinking
Das
the
Boot.
drinking
And
the
Yeah.
boot.
so wasn't that where we all took a sip and passed it to the right?
Yeah, it was.
It was like communion, except it was with a beer, drinking
Exactly.
it out of a cowboy
There
boot.
was a spoon.
Yes.
That was pre-COVID, obviously. And then there was the Mardi Gras stuff.
Oh yeah.
That was a
Great
huge
Mardi
party.
Gras parties.
Wow, unbelievable.
I felt like there was a birthday just about every week. We always had a cake.
Yeah, which was fantastic. But I
Tony's like, I want to get my deals done.
I will say that when I moved over to New Tech, That was one of my one stipulations as we added staff, is that we were not celebrating birthdays.
Oh my goodness! Look at this
group.
The Grinch over here.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Now they do it anyway, but I wanted to make sure that I didn't have to be involved.
You can do one birthday celebration a quarter to
exactly.
acknowledge all the
Figure it, yeah.
There you
birthdays.
go.
And then Carolyn, when you moved over to the loan officer side from the underwriting side, I started dealing with you a little bit more. You were into fitness, so we were able to talk about that and stuff. And then you started helping me with some deals, and then you've stayed with SBA.
I fell in love with SBA. I loved it.
Really?
Mhm.
Tell me about that. What do you like about it?
Well, so I think because my husband had a gym business for so many years, and just seeing the other side that, I just feel like the banks don't always meet the needs of small business owners the way that they need to be met. And so the SBA fits the bill there. And I think that was really what I liked. I loved working with the mom and pops and the small business owners, and still brings me a lot of satisfaction today.
Yeah.
I love it.
I still can't believe that we sent shiny envelopes and then people called the phone and then they mailed financials to us. Like that was kind of like,
and we got a check up front.
Yeah,
a lot of
exactly.
times,
A
which
check, a
was
physical
also
check.
interesting.
Mhm.
oh my goodness.
Seriously.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Man,
Yep.
nothing like getting a package, when I was,
Oh, it
Like a
was like
CD-ROM,
Christmas.
Or a fax. Your fax machine would
Yeah.
get blown up, or a CD-ROM.
what's the most packages you got in one day?
Well, we used to drive around town all the time. I mean, one of the best was I brought this up a few months ago to Sean. It was for like a plumbing company or electric company or something, I don't know. And the owner had been working on this package for a very long time, and he finally got it all together. And it was probably like stacked stuff like this, a binder. Sean brought it in the office. That thing reeked of cigarette smoke. I mean, throughout the entire office.
I think I got that deal.
Yeah, maybe you did.
I remember. Oh man, I remember
what-
that.
It had
deal
a
you're working on there.
heavy cigarette smoke.
Yeah.
smell
Was
to
that
it.
a medical supply business?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's fun.
You probably have some interesting memories of taking all the phone calls and then being critiqued about
Yeah,
how
what?
well you answered the questions or your script, so to speak.
Yeah.
There was a very
The
high
recorded-
bar.
The secret shopper.
The secret
Yes.
shopper.
Wait, was
Or
there a
the
secret
record-
shopper? Wait,
Yeah.
I don't know about any of this.
Well, maybe you let the cat out of the
Yeah.
bag, Sam.
Oh, I don't know.
Wait a minute. All right. So all I know is, first of all, I got a job again where I was basically in sales. I was talking to people on the phone without having any knowledge, training, or education on what we even did. My first week, I still thought we did apartments. So I'm responding to people.
Pretty much the one product
that
we
we
don't
don't
do.
do.
We still got those leads though. And there's a guy, I want to say his name was Steve, that was in that role. I think he works for like Medtronic now. We're on LinkedIn together. But he kind of trained me over there in the annex and, to respond to the inbound leads. And so, yeah, I had a script. Chris worked with me on a lot of this stuff. And the only thing I remember, and I think this is a real guy. And if you're telling me this is like Dan Eschba in a wig, like that's going to blow my mind. Cause I've told this story probably like twice on podcasts and stuff. But I do remember that I got a broker that called me one time, and we'd get mortgage brokers that don't really know SBA, so you can kind of work your way through those conversations. You had borrowers that don't know SBA, so you can talk to them. But when you got a savvy broker that knows what they're doing and they're asking you more specific questions like this guy, I BS'd my way through that conversation and it did not work. He can smell it right away. So the next day, Chris calls me into his office. He hits play on the voicemail. And it's this broker ripping me a new one in the voicemail and calling me a clown. I don't know what I'm doing. and then, yeah, I mean, I learned that lesson at that point, that basically if you don't know the answer to something, just say you don't know the answer and I'll get back to you.
I got that same call into the office, and he's like, I think he said a little too much.
Yeah.
And then Chris played the message. It was from one of his buddies, an investor in some of his things. Guy asked one question, and I think I spoke for 15 minutes straight.
Oh.
He's like, just let's shorten that up a little bit.
Yeah.
And he's like, you said literally everything. And
Yeah.
I was a
Couldn't wait to
really
get that
valuable
email.
lesson. I hasn't left me still to this day. He's like, I talk a lot, but don't talk too much.
Chris would, I had homework. He gave me books and stuff. And, so sales and marketing books, psychology of selling. I think Think and Grow Rich was the first one I think I read actually. And, all those books, reading those books and being able to apply it, like to read a book and then the next day come and apply it to what you're doing and then get better and better as you go. And at one point I was making 100 calls a day to some of these brokers. And, it was cool. I loved it. And the only reason I left you, Sean, was for money.
Yeah. And that's a very
It's okay.
reasonable,
It
reason.
was a tough phone call to take when I learned. I was at a conference in San Antonio, and I think we had 2 or 3 deals like actively going that you were working on, and I was kind of helping. And he says, "Well, hey, Sean, you just got 2 or 3 deals. I'm in San Antonio," and like, oh, that hurt.
Do you remember we had the deal in Houston? I know his name.
Mm,
You remember his name?
No.
And I arranged a dinner for us with a borrower
no.
because we were in town, and this was like Hagel or whatever, the conference. And I was like, "Oh, we have a borrower in Houston. Let's arrange a dinner."
And I said, "Don't."
And you're
ever.
like, "Why did you do this?"
Did we go to the dinner?
Piaz?
Oh yeah. Oh yes. We had dinner with him. That guy's probably
He's probably rich right now.
He's probably has 14.
He was crushing it.
14 Lamborghinis.
When I brought you that deal, you're like, "We're not going to win this deal." And we closed the deal, but it was like, there was nothing wrong with the deal. I feel like I remember, right? Like it was super profitable.
a 23-year-old guy who had like 2 amazing businesses.
It was like online or something.
Um,
It was online STD kits.
Oh,
Who doesn't need one of
Yeah,
those?
exactly. I mean, what?
it was, yeah.
It's ahead of his time, you know?
Okay.
but I mean, to that point though, like that was one of the things though that differentiated us too, though. Like to be able to go get on a plane, or we're at a conference, we make a connection with a broker or with a customer. I mean, the fact that I had a repeat customer down on the border of Texas and Mexico, in Reynosa, and the reason he did business with us, because I made 2 trips down there and I saw all of his warehouses, I saw all of his stuff. He still called me multiple times when I was at NewTek. Like, the fact that you spend some time and you're coming from so far away, I think is very much appreciated by the small business owner, and said, look, they really care about our business. They care about providing us a solution that makes sense for us and what we need. So, I think
we
that
were very
helped us.
surprised that you made it back
Yeah.
both times.
Yeah.
We were like,
Me too.
Sean was good at office pools and odds, and there
Yeah.
was definitely one
Right.
going around. So
You went down to the
was
border
tough.
before it was cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, as we work on wrapping this up, I just want to make sure we fit all this in. What else, guys? What other stories or memories you remember from this era?
I just remember it was a great experience and it was a great team. And I don't think I could name just one particular thing that
Yeah.
stands out. I was just so blessed to be a part of the group. And, Jeff was a great inspiration. I think I've learned so much from him and just his attitude of how he approaches things and business in general. And it's just fun. And I think that's shaped for me in my career. It's been a big part of it.
I do remember sitting in the credit committees. Like, I feel like the whole company was at the table for credit committee.
Almost.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was. Jeff was a big believer in letting.
I mean, I was
everybody
there.
hear.
If I was
Yeah.
there, I just feel like everyone was there.
And everybody gets to see
But they all
win and fail at the same time.
Yeah,
Sometimes
I
you
mean,
go
Jeff was a
down.
big believer in people learning
flames.
from the dialogue and the conversation.
And bringing people up, organically.
Right.
And that was a
believed in
huge-
people and growing from
Mhm.
within. I mean, most of the successful people a lot of them were interns under Sean
Yep.
that made valuable contributions. So
And then I remember like a jacked guy showed up once a week in the committee meetings. He was just absolutely
Oh yeah,
Huge.
Rick.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
Rick Anderson. Yeah,
Still Jack. He's still Jack.
I was like, whatever this guy says. Every deal, my favorite part of credit committee was every deal got approved.
Well, there was some politicking behind the scenes that you may have not seen to make sure that we address certain.
I only wish I was a fly on the wall for those.
You should have been there for. There was a hotel in North Carolina that with the burdens. That was kind of an interesting little conversation that we had.
That's a very good point.
Them all getting approved. I remember walking in thinking we were good on a few, and then the room turned quickly.
What I think was the difference was that sometimes it would be, maybe contentious is a bad word, but it would be an intense conversation about a deal. I think that we were all very passionate about every one of our deals. Right. And so one of the great things about it was, regardless of who the individual on committee that had an issue or if it was multiple, I think everybody was willing to listen to solutions. It wasn't a no, and let's not talk about it. It's, here are my issues, and we may table it. And maybe it takes a week or 2 weeks later to come up with a viable solution that made sense. And they're more than, open to listening to that solution. And oftentimes that came with some consultation from Jeff or with Shannon or with, us collectively trying to figure out a way. And we ultimately got a lot of deals done that way.
The no's, if you did you had to do a field trip. You get a couple other guys on committee.
That's true.
Load up the van and head to wherever the guy was. And then once you saw the guy, the borrower,
you get them bought in.
See the whites of their eyes, see the
like
property
the guy,
really get dirty a little bit.
Oh wow,
That frequently
a lot went into
worked
those.
to a yes, but
Wow.
you fought for every deal. So
Wow.
you had to put in the time.
I had no idea.
And they were
You guys made it
willing
look so
to
easy.
go.
But weren't you just underwriting to the takeout? Right, on a 504 interim loan? Or are you guys talking about?
I think it started out that way, but I don't think it ended that way because after the crash, SBA did get more serious about underwriting, and you had to put more into it and make sure that they could actually operate the business if the debenture didn't get funded.
And we were also taking on one of the aspects of what we were providing was construction financing in general. So oftentimes we do the first and the second because the bank that was referring it to us or the takeout bank was not comfortable doing construction lending. And so we had to underwrite it like we were going to be holding the permanent.
Really?
First.
But it really, if the project got complete, you got taken out.
We should, and that was the ultimate goal, but we couldn't operate in 100% certainty that was going to happen.
Did that ever not happen?
A couple times.
Yes.
Yeah.
Didn't somebody pass away or something, and it led to wasn't it? Isn't it like fringe things that happen?
There was the Real Housewives, wasn't there? The one you had out in California with the debenture didn't get funded because it was the guy was married to one of the Real Housewives, and
There
they
was
were going through a
something there,
divorce or
yeah.
something. It's a good story.
The strangest litigation things would come up, because obviously you have to sign off and say there's no pending litigation, and that would happen occasionally. I mean, there was times we had to work through, and so to Tony's point, some of these we held to almost the full 4 years. Sometimes back then you could actually get extensions, and so there was some that lasted quite a while.
Yeah,
there was a lot of heartburn.
Absolutely.
Bad timing.
Yeah.
You can't underwrite for everything.
Didn't you guys do a loan for Beyonce's dad?
I don't remember that one.
No.
I just made that up.
Yeah, I think you just made that up.
I think you're making that up.
Yeah.
Oops.
That's been cool.
All right. Well, any final words or memories?
I remember you always being very enthusiastic and always smiling and eager to learn. I'm sure you've carried that from position to position to your current spot now. Why I think you have a group of great people that work for you and work with you, and they've everybody's growing together. So you're still a beacon of positivity when it comes to SBA lending, and that's kind of never changed about you. So
Absolutely.
Thanks, man. I appreciate
proud's
that.
not the right word, but I don't think it couldn't happen to where you're at and what you're doing could happen to a more deserving person.
The value that you continue to bring to the industry and to provide resources, education to people that may be in the situation that you were very early on in your career at Mercantile is very important, because we want this industry to continue to grow. It's a great resource to small business owners, and sad to see that the podcast, this is the last episode, but I think it's been very well received industry wide, and I'm sure that you'll continue to do what you've been doing very successfully in other avenues. So appreciate you having us here today.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much.
You may have discussed this on a previous podcast, but do you think there was a lot of learning and a lot of teaching from Chris Hearn and Jeff Longstaff and Shannon, and I learned from everybody that I came up with. A lot of that got kind of is about teaching. Do you think your podcast, just the inception and you wanting to do it, has anything to do with you wanting to also teach or give back?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly why I did it. I wanted to give back, and I also wanted to continue to learn. So it was a combination of both, because I was now on an island. And so I was going to social media to kind of see what was out there. Where's, my Sean Philly YouTube channel where I can learn. And obviously that didn't exist. So I was like, I could make one, and this could be my chance to give back. And so I've been doing this for the last 6 years. And, I most recently, I was running for the Nagel board, which, I don't know if the election's over, but I don't know if I'm on or not. I'm probably not, but I wanted to, that to me was, I want to pause this to kind of do that next chapter. So it's like, while this podcast is coming to an end, it's not like the mission is coming to an end, right? We're just getting started. Sense. That's going to carry on. So
I like that.
That's great.
But obviously I had to bring you guys in for the final one. Yeah. So thank you. This was literally,
thanks so much.
The best thing ever. I so enjoyed this.
It's a lot of fun.
It's good to see everybody again. So
Yes.
thank
Over
you
you,
for
sure.
making it happen.
All right, Chris, come out of the bushes.